And we're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Stack Bitcoin Show. I hope you guys are having a great, what is this today? What's today? Wednesday? Hump day? Halfway through the week. Halfway through the week already. Enjoying the stacking news. Let's see. I'm over on the TikTok live and also live on YouTube. If you're watching on TikTok and you want to watch, be able to see all the screenshots and all the production value we put into the show, you'll have to get on TikTok. Sorry, you'll have to get on YouTube, and you can get there by going to stackbitcoinshow.com. What's up, TikTok? Dari in the house. Dari first in. Round of applause from the live studio audience for Dari. Duke. Over on the YouTube channel. Alrighty, let's get things cracking today. The title for today's episode is Bitcoin at 106,000. What now? It's a dip, boys. And we know what dips are, right? Dips are gifts. Dips are gifts. So, if you are looking at the price dip and wondering to yourself, oh man, is it gonna go down? Is it gonna go up? Doesn't matter in the long run. If you're doing a dollar cost average, you are in the positive. Okay, eventually you'll get in the positive because this train doesn't stop. Bitcoin keeps going up. All right, let's jump into the first segment of the show. It's called the Bitcoin strength. Here we go. The Bitcoin strength. Today, the price of Bitcoin is $107,308.84. See, it's already back up to 107,000. What up, John? What up, Reynold? Welcome to the stream over on TikTok. Yeah, so today the price of Bitcoin is, like I said, 107,000. It's already back up. And you can buy 932 Satoshis for a single dollar. What the heck is a Satoshi? A Satoshi is a fraction of a Bitcoin. Just like a dollar is made up of 100 cents, a Bitcoin is made up of 100 million Satoshis. So when you look at the price of Bitcoin and you see that big price tag of 107,000, don't get scared. You don't need to buy a whole Bitcoin all at once to start to enjoy the benefits of saving in Bitcoin. You can start with as little as $1, $10, $100, and that value that you set aside is automatically shielded from inflation, right? If you want to get crazy, some exchanges might even let you buy a penny's worth. A penny's worth of Bitcoin today. Let's say you're walking down the street, minding your own business. You look down, you see a penny, you pick it up, and all the day that penny will be worth at today's price about 9 Satoshis, 9 fractions of a Bitcoin. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So don't think that you're too late, okay? It's not about saving up to buy a Bitcoin at $107,000. It's about saving in Bitcoin. You don't save up to buy a Bitcoin, you save in Bitcoin, okay? That is the Bitcoin strength for today, okay? So let's get this track back on here. Fade back into some chill music. Okay, that was the Bitcoin strength segment. Shout out, round of applause for the people coming in and out of TikTok. If you're watching on TikTok and you want to watch the full experience with the displays and the screen on and the spreadsheets and the buys, check out Stack Bitcoin Show on YouTube. You can get there by going to stackbitcoinshow.com. What's up, Hannah? Welcome to the stream. Donald, welcome to the stream. Hope all is well. Feel free to ask any questions here on TikTok on the comments. I'm watching the comments. I'm also watching the comments on YouTube. So, yeah, I'm here to help you. Here to help you figure out the Bitcoin thing. Okay? All right. Let's pop over to the next topic of the show on a beautiful Wednesday. And that is, of course, why we stack the orange pill version of the orange pill portion of the show. Why we save in Bitcoin. Why? What's the point? Yeah, you talk about Bitcoin all the time, but why should I save in Bitcoin? Well, let me tell you. In the simplest phrase I can come up with, and then we're going to dissect that phrase, okay? You save in Bitcoin because saving in Bitcoin is like traveling back in time and giving yourself a perpetually increasing retroactive raise for the hours you've already worked. Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? Okay, let's break it down. So you're working your butt off, and you're exchanging hours of your life for a set amount of dollars that you agreed to exchange your life for. Really, what it comes down to, right? Whether you're getting paid minimum wage, I don't even know what that is right now. Let's say you're getting paid $20 an hour, $100 an hour. It doesn't matter. You've already committed to exchanging your life on this planet for that set amount of money per hour. Okay. Once you take that value, you say, okay, fine. I'll take $20 an hour, and I'm gonna take that money, and I don't get all the money off the bat. The government comes through and says, okay, you need to pay us. You need to take some taxes out of there so you can cover some costs of things we're doing. And so you're like, okay, fine. The government comes and takes about 30% of your earnings via taxes and other things, and then you're left with whatever you're left with, right? And then you think to yourself, okay, cool, fine, I paid my taxes. Now I can take the rest of this money and I can save it for whatever I'm saving for in the future. I'm saving for my retirement. I'm saving to buy a car. I'm saving for a down payment on a house, whatever, right? And you are tricked into believing that the value that you set aside in your savings is going to continue to purchase the same stuff. And that's a problem. The problem is that after you paid your income tax and all that stuff, the value that you have left over that you're putting aside in the bank continues to get debased. It continues to get taxed via a hidden tax. And this hidden tax is called inflation. Okay? When the government prints more money and expands the money supply, the value of each individual dollar goes down. The purchasing power of each individual dollar goes down as the money supply increases. And therefore, if you're saving in dollars, it's like a continuous drain on the purchasing power of your savings, to where when you're getting close to what you're saving for, by the time you get there, depending on how long it takes, you would have lost purchasing power so that the price of that thing is now more expensive, right? So if you're saving to buy a down payment on a house, saving for a car, and you save it in cash, you're losing purchasing power as you're saving for the thing the longer it takes you to get there. So when you save in dollars, it's pushing the goal out further and further and further as the supply of money increases, right? So that's what we say. As you save in Bitcoin, since the value of Bitcoin is inflation resistant, taking out your earnings that you're going to save for long term and putting those into Bitcoin shields that value from inflation. So as the money supply continues to increase, it doesn't affect you negatively in your Bitcoin stack. It actually now starts working for you. Now inflation and the debasement of the money supply makes the value of your Bitcoin go up. So if you bought Bitcoin when Bitcoin was $50,000, right? We'll just do an example. Let's say you bought a whole Bitcoin at $50,000, and you also had another $50,000 that you put into a bank account, right? The Bitcoin, the $50,000 that you put into Bitcoin would get you twice as much purchasing power. It expanded 100% since then, right? That means that the same $50,000 that you set aside is now worth whatever, $107,000, right? So the purchasing power of your Bitcoin holdings increased, even though you just had one Bitcoin 2 years ago, and today it continues to be that same one Bitcoin. It's worth twice as much. It has twice as much purchasing power as when you first bought it, right? Now flip that. If you go and try to buy a Bitcoin right now, you couldn't buy it with the original $50,000 you set aside in cash, right? Because the purchasing power of those $50,000 is now about $25,000, right? Well, maybe not. Yeah, it's about 50%. It's about half. So 50%, you'll be able to buy half of a Bitcoin with $50,000 today, right? So the purchasing power of the dollars dropped by half, while the purchasing power of the Bitcoin doubled, right? So that's why when you look back and say, okay, let's say that you're working at an hourly rate, you're working at your job, and you take some of the hours you invested into working and you convert those into Bitcoin, right? Then you can imagine that gives you the same effect of going back in time and giving yourself a raise for the hours you've already worked, right? Because the money that represents the hours you committed to that job in the past gets converted to economic energy, and then gets stored in Bitcoin. And as long as you have it stored there, that hour's worth of labor continues to increase in purchasing power against somebody that's not doing that, right? So that's what we say. You go back in time and give yourself a that's what we say. You go back in time and give yourself a perpetually increasing retroactive raise for the hours you've already worked just by saving in Bitcoin. Crazy, I know. Crazy. It's super simple too. Super simple. All right, if you're watching on TikTok, remember we're doing the 100-day Bitcoin savings challenge. We're buying Bitcoin, 100 days in a row. Today will be day 3. I will do the purchase today after this show and upload the video. But feel free to follow along. If you want to start doing the 100-day challenge with us, you can go to stackbitcoinshow.com/100day 2025. That is the link for the challenge. So feel free to jump on there if you're on YouTube or on TikTok. Round of applause from the live studio audience. I'm going out to Mr. Carl Black in the house. What up, Cole? Are sats on sale today? I believe so, sir. Dips are gifts. Bitcoin is down to 107,000. And just imagine, guys, we're talking about Bitcoin being down to 107,000 when, I don't know, less than a year ago, we're like, man, I can't wait till Bitcoin hits 100,000. Will it ever hit 100,000? I don't know. People are like talking about whether it hits 100,000 or not, right? Now we're talking about it being down to 107,000. That's crazy. It's crazy how the world works. Shout out, round of applause to Jay over there in the chat on TikTok. Also, shout out, round of applause to Sam over on TikTok. If you guys have any questions, guys, feel free to put it in the chat. I will answer your questions, and we'll keep on rolling. Hard Huddle in the house. Round of applause for Hard Huddle over in YouTube. DCA to BTC. This is the way, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So that's it. We got through the stack. We got through the why we stack segment. And yeah, to answer the question that I posed in the title of this video on YouTube. Oh no, it says, Bitcoin at 106K. What now? Well, you know what now, guys. We're going to continue to buy Bitcoin based on our dollar cost averaging schedule. So if you're new to Bitcoin and you're wondering when to get in and when to get out, if you should time it, if you should buy like right now or wait till it drops or whatever, don't worry about that stuff. Don't only invest money that you are willing to not touch for at least 4 years. I know it's a lot. It's a big commitment. Okay. 2 years you're probably okay, but 4 years minimum. Okay. And only invest or only buy as much as you feel comfortable with based on how much you know about Bitcoin. Okay. What I'm doing here on the show and what we started doing back 2 years ago, we started with $5 a day. $5 a day, Monday through Friday. And it's the equivalent of not buying a Starbucks coffee every weekday. Then we eventually bumped it up to $10 a day. And now we're doing $20 a day, right? Still, and that might be too much for some people, but just do whatever feels comfortable for you. You can do a certain amount per day, per week, per month that you feel like is comfortable for you, because a lot of the things we spend on, it's stuff we don't even really need, guys. Like we blow our money on random stuff because we want to have a little brief moment of like satisfaction, right? Whereas if you just forego that little brief moment of satisfaction, replace it with something else, it doesn't cost you any money, and stack that value into Bitcoin. Next thing you know, you're going to be looking at your savings like we do here on the show and be like, holy smokes, dude, my $5 Bitcoin buys turned into like a significant amount of money. I can actually maybe buy another car, like buy a used car, or upgrade my car, or use it as a down payment for a house or whatever, right? You end up with options. You end up with options, which is always a good thing to have. Okay. So today, let's jump into, to answer the question. Yes, we're going to continue to buy, and you should set a schedule for yourself too. Pick a frequency, daily, monthly, weekly, and an amount. Say, I'm only going to do $1 a day, but I'm going to set it up. I'm going to automate it and not worry about it. And it's done. You don't have to worry about it, right? Maybe you say, I'm going to do $5 a day, or I'm going to do $20 a week. Pick your frequency and pick your amount and just get it done. Just get it done. Okay. Any Bitcoin is better than zero Bitcoin. Okay. Any Bitcoin is better than zero Bitcoin. Just remember, the money that you're not spending right away on something that you need, like your rent, your bills, that's fine. the money you don't need right away that you're going to put into long-term savings should go into Bitcoin. And it should go into Bitcoin because it's the best returning asset there is, right? Year over year, 50% back, right? So it's just a no-brainer. It's just a no-brainer. Like, most investments out there require you to do a lot more work, and you're getting less returns. Again, like maybe tops a great performing asset, maybe 14-15%, right? And that's like not factoring in the costs of investing and your time and all that stuff, right? With Bitcoin, you don't have to manage anything. You just buy the Bitcoin, take custody of the Bitcoin, and that's it. Hold it for a day or hold it for 100 years, and it's not going to cost you anything more to hold it for that long, right? It's wild. Anyway, that's why I recommend we save in Bitcoin, right? And again, not financial advice, but look into it. All right, so let's move on to the next segment of the show that we like to call, of course, where we get to show you guys the proof is in the pudding. There it is. Stack recap, because we don't only talk about stacking Bitcoin here Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. We actually do it. We stack Bitcoin here live during the show. And before we buy for today, I'm going to show you guys the current status of our stack. We track our Bitcoin buys here on the show in 3 different ways. Two different ways. We track the full year, and then we track the whole lifespan of the show. So if wherever you find us, when you decide to jump in and start saving in Bitcoin, you'll see that no matter where you're starting from, you'll still be better off if you're saving in Bitcoin, even if you're starting today, right? Even if you're starting tomorrow, even if you're starting a year from now, the thing that makes Bitcoin appreciate in value is gonna stay the same, whether you're doing it today, tomorrow, or next year. But if you start soon, the sooner you start, the more Bitcoin you'll get for your dollars, right? So starting sooner is better, but the best day to start is today, and the second best day to start is tomorrow, right? But you're definitely gonna get more value for your dollars, more Bitcoin for your dollars, the sooner you start, because the price of Bitcoin is gonna just basically keep going up. Okay, all right. So if you're watching on YouTube if you're watching on TikTok and you want to see the spreadsheet that I'll be referring to for the next segment, you can go to stackbitcoinshow.com on just go stackbitcoinshow.com. It'll take you to my YouTube live stream right now, and there you'll be able to see the screen with all the numbers that I'm talking about. Okay, I'm gonna try to be as descriptive as possible if you can't make it over to the YouTube channel. So let's get through this. Okay, in 2025, this year so far, we've set aside $3,720. That's how much we've saved into Bitcoin on the show via our dollar cost average process. Okay, that got us to about 0.4068069 Bitcoin. I know it doesn't sound like anything. It sounds insignificant, right? 0.0406865 Bitcoin. Yeah. But that little stack of Bitcoin that we started on this year is already up 17.42%. In other words, that Bitcoin that we saved and cost us $3,700 is now worth $4,368. See, there you go. It's pretty cool, right? And that's that's in less than 6 months. Well, actually, it'll be 6 months here coming up next week, right? All right, in 2024, we tracked that year separately as well, in case somebody joined into the stream and decided to start saving in Bitcoin and didn't want to get discouraged by how much of an advantage we already had since we started earlier. So in 2024, if you had just stayed with us during the show, we set aside $7,345, and now at the price of Bitcoin today, that 0.12 Bitcoin that we bought last year is worth $13,145. In other words, that little stack that we put together just last year, just by saving Monday through Friday, on average about $20 a day, we turned $7,345 into $13,145, right? So what could you do in your life with that money, right? Like, I didn't have to go do anything extra. I didn't have to go learn anything extra. I didn't have to go do any extra work for the value of that Bitcoin to go from $7,000 to $13,000, right? And if you think about that difference, right? It's like what, $6,000 or so? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, $6,000. $6,000 worth of anything, right? What would you have to do today to earn an additional $6,000 this year, right? Would you have to go get another job with a pay bump, right? And even then, would you be able to save an extra $6,000? Like we saved $7,000, and then we got an extra $6,000 on our savings for nothing. All we did was buy the Bitcoin, take custody of the Bitcoin, and hold it. That's it. That's it. We don't have to do anything else, right? So Bitcoin is how you beat inflation. Bitcoin is how you get out of that rat race. Okay, I know there's a lot of stuff out there about Bitcoin that's like scary, and it's meant to make you scared, right? It's meant to make you scared, right? All the companies that are putting out the information that's like, oh, Bitcoin is bad for the environment. Bitcoin is criminal money. Bitcoin is this and that, right? All those companies that sponsored the ads and the news to put out those lies and say those things are the big companies that were fighting against Bitcoin because they couldn't figure out a way to use it to make money, right? Now, those same companies, BlackRock and the big money companies, are using their influence to keep you in the dark and keep you scared about Bitcoin. Meanwhile, they're stacking it hand over fist, right? Meanwhile, BlackRock, their iShares Bitcoin ETF, they're holding 659,297 Bitcoin so far. Okay. Just today, guys, BlackRock bought, what is it? Here it is. Just today, BlackRock ETF, one of the ETFs, bought 3,755 Bitcoin. Right? There's Fidelity. They're also buying Bitcoin. They're holding about 200,000 Bitcoin. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, they're holding about 186,000. ARK Invest is holding 48,000 Bitcoin. Grayscale Bitcoin Mini ETF, they're holding also 43,000 Bitcoin. Bitwise is holding 38,000 Bitcoin, right? All these companies that want you to be afraid of Bitcoin are stacking it before you realize what's happening, because they understand that if you can, as an individual, buy Bitcoin and it's going to help you in your savings and increase your purchasing power, like they want all that for themselves, right? And the cool part about Bitcoin is that the barrier to entry is so low, you don't need to save up for a down payment on buying some Bitcoin. Like you need to save up for a down payment on a car, which is not really an investment, but like a property, right? You can't just go and buy a house when you feel like it. You got to save up for the down payment, make sure you have the good credit, get the big loan for it, and now you're in debt. Plus you use all your cash as a down payment. So if that investment fails, you're left broke with bad credit and like with nowhere to live, right? Well, that's such a big risk, right? Why not instead save in Bitcoin, right? Watch the value of your purchasing power increase over time, double basically 50% year over year, right? Double every 2 years, and then eventually you might even just be able to buy a house that you want for some Bitcoin instead of it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, the ramifications of all this are pretty wild. Okay. Anyway, I'm trying to bring us back down to earth here. So, in 2024, that's 2024, right? Yeah, that was a 2024 price. Okay, fine. Now we're gonna go show you the screen of our portfolio here on the show since the beginning of the show. We started this show on May 22nd, 2023, Bitcoin Pizza Day. And at that time, the price of Bitcoin, our first Bitcoin buy for the show was when Bitcoin was priced at $27,360. We bought $5 worth of Bitcoin, and that $5 worth of Bitcoin today is worth about $19. So that's how it started for us, right? We've set aside Bitcoin since then, and we've accumulated about 0.27 Bitcoin, a little bit over a quarter of a Bitcoin, right? That quarter of a Bitcoin cost us about $14,000, and the value of the Bitcoin today is about $29,000. So right now we're showing about 99% gain because, of course, Bitcoin dipped a little bit to 107,000, right? But yeah, that's really what it comes down to. You start investing in Bitcoin, you start to see it grow, and then you naturally become a saver. Like before Bitcoin, I was like a spender. I would like go on Amazon and buy everything I needed, everything I needed, everything I thought I needed. Right? I'd go on there, get into a new hobby, and buy everything that was associated with that hobby. Right? Now it's like once I discovered Bitcoin, once I started saving in Bitcoin, and once I started seeing in real time, pretty much, right? You're watching yourself get more wealthy. You see your savings there, you see it sitting in Bitcoin, and then you see the value of those savings go up, and you start to think to yourself, shoot, should I have spent that money on that extra thing that that hobby that I picked up that I didn't even do anymore? Wouldn't that money have been better spent or better invested or better saved in Bitcoin instead, right? Do I need to go out to eat lunch every single day for work? What if I just packed a lunch and I took that difference of going out to eat lunch every day and packing lunch every day? It'll be cheaper to pack lunch. Take that difference of the money you would have spent anyway and store that into Bitcoin. Next thing you know that little savings adds up, right? And you start looking at all these different things. Let me go back to my Amazon shopping addiction. Well, I continued to do the Amazon shopping. I would put the stuff that I liked into the cart and see how much the total was going to be, right? And then once I got the total for everything I was going to spend money on that I knew I didn't really need, I just kind of wanted, I would write down the number the total dollar cost, and I would buy that much Bitcoin and delete my cart. And like now, all those buys that I didn't do have served me way better than having those things, right? And I could have bought those things and would have enjoyed them for a little bit, but like I get more enjoyment now out of having those funds saved and that Bitcoin stacked, because now I have way more options, right? I have way more options of what to do, right? For the cost of a shopping cart's worth of hobbies that I didn't buy, now that'll maybe pay for like a trip to somewhere or like something more significant, right? Where I can enjoy my life better or easier because, again, I have more options. I have more resources available to me in the form of economic energy, right? Anyway, round of applause from the live studio audience for Carlos Jaramillo. What up, Carlos? Good to see you in here. Oh, also Aussie HB, thanks for tuning in to the YouTubes. Do me a favor, guys, hit that like button and all that good stuff, and tap the screen for some hearts to get that algorithm. I don't know, just to do something, algorithm. Do something. Over on the over on YouTube, we finally made a new all-time high of subscribers. We're currently at 368 subscribers. I think that's been our all-time high for a couple days now. And come on, YouTube. Push us out there. Carlos Jaramillo says, I wish I could lift my BTC stack and exercise with it. Nice. Very nice. Over on TikTok, JK, welcome to the stream. I hope you're enjoying the show. If you have any questions, just ask in the chat. What's up, Alma? Good to see you in the show as well. Ask away, guys. If you have any questions, just ask. I'm watching the chat over on TikTok as well, and I would love to answer any of your questions, because when you ask a question, it doesn't only help you, it also helps the other person that maybe is too shy to ask those questions, okay? And there's no question in here that'll mock you for, okay? Well, at least not too much. I'm just kidding. Ask your beginner questions. I encourage you that if you're a beginner, especially, to ask your questions about Bitcoin. You don't know me, of course, on TikTok, but the guys on YouTube, we've been doing this show for 2 years. I'm very transparent about what we're doing here on the show, right? And I'm not gonna mislead you or put you in a place where I wouldn't put my own family in, right? Like the stuff that I'm telling you about is stuff that I tell my friends and family all the time, and it's working. It's working, as you can see from the stack recap here that we're doing. All right, let's finish up this stack recap and get to what we need to do. Back in this year, 2025, our average buy price for 2025 is $93,000. Today's price is $107,000. So today, we're gonna buy $20 worth of Bitcoin right now live during the stream for our dollar cost average buy. Okay, so let me unlock my phone here. Open up my Strike app. Let's see, there it is. Strike. Oh, let me go full screen over here. I just go main screen. And now that we know how much Bitcoin we're going to buy, there's only one thing left to do. Time to stack some Bitcoin. All right, here we go. Strike app is open. Ready to serve. Hit the buy button. Bam. Type in $20. $20 is keyed in. We're buying $20 worth of Bitcoin today on the Stack Bitcoin show. We're using the Strike app. If you want to sign up with Strike to buy your stacks of Bitcoin, you can use my affiliate link. You can get to it by going to stackagainstthemachine.com. It'll take you to my invite code, and from there, you and I will receive $500 worth of fee-free Bitcoin purchases. So you won't pay fees for your next $500 worth of Bitcoin purchases if you use my affiliate link, if you use my invite code. All right, here we go. Hitting the next button, cutting the music, and hitting the drum roll. Buying $20 worth of Bitcoin to hit confirm. Trying to make it so I can see in both cameras. Right there. And just like that, we've purchased an additional 18,413 Satoshis. Fractions of a Bitcoin. Now we're going to go over to the spreadsheet. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on TikTok and you want to see the spreadsheet that we're doing up here, go to stackbitcoinshow.com so you can watch this live on YouTube. You can still chat in here in TikTok. I'm monitoring that chat so I don't miss any of your questions. Today is May 28th, 2025, and the price of Bitcoin we deserve today is $107,587.03 Bitcoin. We purchased $20 worth of Bitcoin, and that got us 0.000181413 Bitcoin. Oops, not 1814. It's not one right there. There it goes. 0.000181413 Bitcoin. And just like that, we've stacked another beautiful stack. Continuing to grow our Bitcoin stack, and on our way to 0.4 Bitcoin here on the show, which is just a temporary spot because the goal for the show is to get to 1 whole Bitcoin. That is the goal for the show. We've been buying Bitcoin since May 22nd, 2023. And if you were to go on YouTube and look at our stack, look at our spreadsheet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only 7 out of 529 Bitcoin buys are in the negative. Oh, wait. Make that 8. Is that right? Where's that one? Yeah, I guess. Only 8 out of 529 Bitcoin purchases that we've done on the show are in the negative. Okay? So that's what we say. If you're not stacking, you're slacking, guys. All right. If you have any questions about Bitcoin, how to do it, if you're on TikTok, check out my pinned videos. I have a pinned video that tells you how the money works and how to use the money to keep you poor. Okay. I have another pinned video that shows you how to buy Bitcoin from scratch. I show you how to set up the app, the Strike app, and how to buy your first $1 worth of Bitcoin if you want to just try it with $1, right? And the third video that I have pinned, I can't remember what it's about. Let me see. What's that? The third video. The third video is, describing the 100-day Bitcoin savings challenge that we have going on right now. All right. So that said, for the guys on YouTube, I don't have any updates on the 100-day Bitcoin savings challenge, except for since the price of Bitcoin dipped a little bit, our savings are down about minus 2.76% in the 100-day savings challenge. 3 days in. I haven't purchased today's stack yet, but when I do, it'll be at a cheaper rate. It'll be at $107,000 Bitcoin. So as the price comes back up to $109,000, that will probably put us about 1 or 2% in the positive at that point. But the excuse me. But the dips are the gifts, guys. When Bitcoin drops in price, you shouldn't be scared. You should be excited to be able to get cheaper Bitcoin, more Bitcoin for your dollar. Okay. All right. That was the stack. And now let's get into any questions. If you have any questions over on TikTok, guys, do me a favor, put it in the comments. Shout out to Brian. Thanks for tuning in. Also, shout out to Ana. Thanks for tuning in. Hola, Ana. Good to see you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in Spanish. I can speak Spanish too. Okay. And if you're on the YouTube, let me read these comments, guys. So far, so good. It's looking good, guys. I appreciate you guys showing up. Hope you guys are having a good Wednesday. Let's see. I'm enjoying my new barbell. Oh, okay, cool. I wasn't sure if you actually went and bought it. Which I could lift my BT. Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember that. How to stop custody, keep stacking, stack on. Exactly. I'll be doing how to stop custody over on TikTok. Once we get our stack in the 100 days of Bitcoin savings challenge. Once we get to like line 50 or so, maybe line 25. I'm not sure when. When we have a significant amount of Bitcoin, I'll talk to you guys about how to take it off of the exchange and hold it for long term so you can be ready, right? I just don't want people to take it off the exchange yet if they're gonna immediately sell it when they're done with the challenge, right? I'll save you a fee, but traditionally you normally wouldn't want to sell it, and the whole goal of doing the 100-day Bitcoin savings challenge is that you see the potential. Yeah, some of you guys will need the money for whatever reason, right? But some of you guys are gonna be smart enough to say, "Oh shoot, I kept that money in Bitcoin for 3 months, and now I can buy 10, 20, 30% more things with it. Shoot, maybe I should just keep it in there." And there you go. The myth is born. The legend is born, and you'll be a legend in your family, right? All right. Any questions? Throw them up. Otherwise, I'm gonna get ready to wrap this baby up and bring it in for the closer. Freedom Sats means 100% responsibility. Exactly. That's true. Alrighty. So let's start wrapping the show up. There it goes. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen. Even though you guys have probably heard it more than 100 times, 424 times already. Hard Huddle, Carl, Koji, Ozzy. I know it gets repetitive, but you never know when someone new to Bitcoin is going to be listening, and I want them to have all the information so they can make a good decision, or at least be able to formulate questions about the topic. Okay, so I appreciate your patience and your support. I really appreciate it, and I'll be back here tomorrow for another episode of the Stack Bitcoin Show. But until then, remember, if you ain't stacking, you're slacking. Later, guys.